Time for our review.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 yo.
Welcome back, Raider Nation and my champions. This is Eric, and happy Friday the 13th, of course. If you're enjoying your favorite horror movie, that's fine as well. We're back here live Friday. This is basically our first installment of the 2023 off season. We're going to be looking at the season review of the 2022 season, how we stacked up against the league, and more importantly, how we stacked up against our performance in the 2021 season. Take a look at how we were better, how we were worse, of course. The win-loss record, as you see on the thumbnail, will show you that as well. We're also going to go into our predictions that we had at the beginning of the season. How well did you guys do, and how well did I do with those predictions? Not so well overall, but we'll get to that. Also, we're going to talk about Derek Carr. He came out and put a tweet out for Raider Nation, basically giving his goodbye. I'm going to share that and give you my take on that. And then we're going to take a look at the 2023 opponents. Of course, we did this last season in 2022 at the beginning of the year. We know the opponents. We know the home and away. We can calculate that. The only thing we do not know is when we will play them, what week we will play these particular opponents, and when or if we will be on Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Football, etc. So with that said, I'm going to welcome you, and if you are enjoying this, of course, I got to ask for you to subscribe, give it a thumbs up, all that good stuff, because that helps the channel. It helps everything here with the channel, Raider Champion channel. And also, especially if you're watching this on a replay, why not subscribe so you can be part of Raider Nation in the chat? We will be opening the chat up. What's up, Dominique? I see you in here. What are my regulars? Dominique 5, how you doing tonight? We're going to be going over the season review. I know people are rolling in right now. And like I said, if you're watching this on replay, I get a lot of people watching on replay. Why not subscribe? You can be here, and you can also, we're going to be opening up our chat line and restream, and you can sound off about anything you want as far as Raider Nation and the NFL coming up. We have a lot of fun with this, so why not subscribe so you're here live with us the next time you're here if you are watching this on a replay. That said, if you are new to the channel, of course, I got to explain this. We do what we call the rundown here. We have our topics. This is what we're going to be talking about. And, of course, we always end it with a question and answer segment where you're going to be involved. And I have the plus here because I will be opening the Restream chat and allowing you to come on. You do not have to have your camera on. You can sound off about the season, last week's game against the Chiefs if you want to. I really don't want to talk about it. The 2023 opponents and situation with Derek Carr. Got a lot to go over. Let's get going with this.
I hear everyone say it. Take what they give you. We're going to take what we want.
As far as the champion count goes, like I said, I've said this before, YouTube's pretty pathetic. It's still going down. I haven't put a live stream on TikTok till since last week's halftime report, and I'm still getting more organic growth just from that. So again, we will be changing that. We will be doing the salary cap review next week, and there's going to be some more changes to the channel that will be coming up. So stay tuned with that. I will be giving you some links for that coming up beforehand, but we will be doing that. That said, let's get into our poll of the week now. I do a poll of the week every week, just about. And this one, I wanted to ask you guys how you thought we did as far as the Raiders 2022 season performance. Of course, I only have 4 options. They absolutely don't deserve an A. I mean, going from 10-7 to 6-11. But I asked, okay, is it a B, a C, a D, or an F? And half of you gave it the honey boo boo thumbs down with an F. I can understand that. Personally, I'd probably say it's a D. It's hard for me to give it a full F, considering we did have the rushing leader on the team. and Devontae Adams over 1,500 yards. I know those are individual performances, but to me that keeps it from making it an F, especially with Josh Jacobs' performance. Now let's get to what I want to talk about here first of all, and this is Derek Carr. I want to talk about his tweet and then some options where we stand in the draft. We'll get into this, of course, as we do in the offseason. We have our mock drafts. We'll get into this more. We'll evaluate what I think we're going to do. I want to talk about what Derek Carr had to say in a tweet for Raider Nation. And basically, this is his goodbye. He knows it's over. I knew it was over a couple weeks, 2 weeks before those games happened anyway. I knew he was not going to be coming back. We'll get into the specifics as far as the contracts and all that in a second. I want to hear I want to get into what he has to say here. He says, Raider Nation, it breaks my heart. I didn't get an opportunity to say goodbye in person. We certainly have been on a roller coaster in our 9 years together. We've had our share of both heartbreaking moments and thrilling game-winning drives, and it always feels like you were there with me, or next to me. And he says, I look forward to a new team and a new city, a new team, no matter what circumstances. I will get everything I have. Winning a championship is what I wanted and what I will continue to work towards. And basically, he also mentioned that the fact that he did say he would retire if he couldn't be a Raider. But basically, the circumstances had changed, and I understand that, and I don't blame him. I don't blame him, and personally, I want to thank him. I think he was more good than bad. If we want to look at this, and if you've been a Raider fan for some time, he's probably been our best quarterback since at least Rich Gannon. Let's be honest, and that was in the early 2000s. So we had about 20 years. Futility at the position. I think he did make some mistakes. He's had some problems. He had one of his worst years statistically this year. Didn't make 4,000 yards. Granted, he was benched the last 2 games. He still threw 14 interceptions, matching what he did the year before. He was one of the lowest, other than his rookie season in 2014. The lowest as far as completion percentage and quarterback rating for his career this season. That said, he's one of the guys. I think he still has that stat since he came to the league in 2014. He has the most game-winning drives of any quarterback. So there was some good, there was some bad. I think, again, my view hasn't changed on him. I think he's an above-average quarterback. I do not think he's an elite quarterback. I put him anywhere from 6 to 14 if you want to rank the quarterbacks currently in the league, starting quarterbacks. He definitely deserves the starting quarterback spot somewhere. We've talked about in that in previous videos some AFC or NFC South locations, possibly. New York Jets, the Colts are talked about as well. However, I'm not so sure we're going to be able to trade him, and here's why. His contract, once it gets to February 15th, he gets $40 million in guaranteed total over the next 2 years in the contract. If we cut him before February 15th, it is a $5.5 million cap hit, which is very insignificant when you're talking about a $200 million overall cap. That said, if we are going to trade him, it's going to have to be something like we saw 2 years ago with Stafford and Goff, where they agreed in principle, but it wasn't official until after the season officially starts in mid-March. That said, I'm not so sure we're going to be able to find some players for him unless somebody gets really desperate and is worried that somebody else is going to scoop him up. Now, that said, of course, Derek Carr still has his no-trade clause. So it's going to have to be somewhere he's going to want to go as well. So I'm not so sure. And quite frankly, should Derek Carr do this franchise any favors? I mean, what has the Raiders done for him? Let's be honest here. Until last season with Devontae Adams, he had no true number 1 wide receiver. The offensive line has been in shambles for most of his career here. You could say exception of the Hudson, Gabe Jackson, Trent Brown when he felt like playing years. That was probably the peak of this offensive line. The defense has been absolutely ridiculously horrible during his tenure here. I believe they said their average, I've heard their average since he's been here in 2014, they are the worst, statistically worst defense in the league over that period of time. And we'll get into the defense this season. It didn't help him much either. I'll just give you a little spoiler alert on that. And I wish him the best. I think he's a great guy off the field, very religious, family-oriented, a stand-up kind of guy. But you can see the emotions. Enough's enough, with this guy, on his end. And I wish him the best wherever he ends up going. Now, as far as the Raiders side of the ball goes with this, of course, we're going to need a quarterback. There's a lot of talk that we're either going to pick one at 7th or trade up. And there are some trade opportunities here. I put the top 4 prospects here. If you don't know, Bryce Young from Alabama, C.J. Stroud. Bryce Young's a little small. That's his knock. C.J. Stroud, a lot of people knock out Ohio State quarterbacks. Will Levis, a big Josh Allen kind of clone, but the accuracy is not there in my opinion. Then the wild card, the Anthony Richardson here. Maybe the old Raiders would pick him at 7th. If not, maybe trade down or move up. I could see the Raiders maybe picking defense here and then moving up into the first round and picking this guy at the end of the first round so you get that 5th-year option, kind of like what Baltimore did with Lamar Jackson. Speaking of which, he's probably going to be elsewhere. I hope he doesn't come to us. I don't want to spend money on him. He's hurt. He's been hurt. Why give money to a player? I know he has a lot of talent, but still, we're paying for past performance, and the Raiders, frankly, need to quit doing that. We got some teams here. Chicago Bears. A lot of talk about them moving on from Justin Fields. Honestly don't see that. That would, to me, that would be a big mistake. If they want to trade, if they want Carr, I'd give Carr in our first rounder for Justin Fields right now. I would do that, no problem. And we get our quarterback of the future. Our offensive line stinks anyway, and he can run around, so that's a plus. In Chicago, we get a quarterback. I don't think they're going to move on from them. I do think they will move down in this draft for somebody desperate for a quarterback and get a lot of extra picks for him. Houston, of course, needs one. Kyler Murray's going to be hurt. Are they going to move on from him? That's kind of interesting. There's reports he's not going to be able to even start next season. Indianapolis Colts have been looking for a quarterback for a while. Bounced around a couple of vets. Are they going to go after Carr, another vet? I doubt it. Seattle is definitely in the mix as well. Is Geno Smith the answer? I know he had that first half of the season was pretty awesome, and then he kind of fell back to earth, let's be honest. A lot of people say Jared Goff. Jared Goff, to me, earned his position. So right now I'm looking at Houston, Indianapolis, and Seattle ahead of us, looking for quarterbacks specifically. And I think Chicago is going to move out, whether it's one of these teams or somebody else. So I think these 3 guys are probably going to be gone if we stay put at 7. So again, if we like Richardson, move up in the 2nd into the late 1st and grab him, get that 5th-year option, and then go defense here. Our defense is terrible. Speaking of which, we're going to talk about that right now. How did we do this year? I'm going to talk about how we did overall, and I'm first going to go over how we did last year here with the 2021 season. Offense, statistically, this is yards per game, of course. 11th last season, 14th on defense. Believe it or not, problem with the offense last year was a running game. We basically didn't have one, non-existent. Couldn't score in the red zone. 3rd down conversions were not very good. The passing was very good. Derek Carr had over 4,800 yards. Of course, he had the 14 interceptions. But this year, we didn't even get near that. We'll get to that in a minute. The defense, kind of middle of the road. My big knock with them on this defense last season, 2021, we didn't generate any turnovers, and that really hurt us. The sacks were really good in the beginning and then really tailed off second half of the season. And the blitz percentage was pretty good. Gus Bradley never blitzes, and he kept to that, even though the front 4 were not getting to the quarterback in the second half of the season. We talked about that. Still kept that there. To me, that's a plus. If you don't have to blitz all the time, If you can get the front four of the quarterback, you can play the other 7 back on passing. So how did we do? Okay, let's compare. So these are the rankings based on the NFL in 2022, and we can look here. So offense, we ended up 12th from 11th. So what do we change in the offense? Of course, we got supposedly an offensive guru in Josh McDaniels. We got Devontae Adams, arguably the best wide receiver. And Darren Waller kind of showed up for part of the season again. And let's not forget, we had the rushing leader here in Josh Jacobs. And the rushing did go up. The passing regressed. Overall, the 12th, I kind of attribute the offense a couple things. Of course, the play calling was kind of wacky. It got a little bit better later on. Then, like I said, the Niner game was great as far as play calling is concerned with Josh McDaniels. A lot of regression in that Chiefs game, though. Andy Reid just outcoached him. Let's be honest. But third down conversions, a little bit better. It's not worth celebrating. And the red zone touchdowns, ridiculous again. Now this is from supposedly an offensive guru. You could say, well, the offensive line was worse. Really wasn't. They actually got more sacked. They were sacked more times in the 2021 season. It was 40 versus 34 quarterback sacks in 2022. Frankly, I think the offensive line played better this season, and that's not saying much. It's not a high bar to cross. Remember Brandon Parker in 2021. So I think it's the play calling and honestly a little bit of Derek Carr regression, and it's just the way it is. Let's get to our favorite here, the defense. Now, if it's top 5, I put it in green. If it's bottom 5, I put it in red. So you can see this 28th overall defense, 29th in passing, 19th in rushing, which is about what we did before. Points per game allowed, about the same. Turnovers, still shitty. We can't generate a turnover, save our lives. And a couple things with this. First thing, passing. Corners have been an issue. Corners were a hole. I talked about that last offseason. Still nothing really happened with that. Traded Trayvon Mullen in late in preseason. Not to say he's great, but probably with this lineup, probably one of the best, if not the best corner we had available at the time. And we got rid of him. Still a huge hole here. I don't know what they're doing. We brought in a guy that supposedly Patrick Graham supposedly could solve things. Gus Bradley was so terrible. Defense actually took a lot of steps back. Let's see this. That's one thing. Turnovers about the same. Still shitty. The sacks. I want to talk about this. We went from getting 35 sacks last season to 27. We got Chandler Jones on that big contract. Absolute bust. Not only that, we're blitzing obviously a lot more than Gus Bradley did. So we're blitzing the quarterback more and getting less sacks. So I hope you're listening to Josh McDaniels. What are we going to do about Patrick Graham here? What are we going to do about this defense? The offense, little regression, but the defense was probably the biggest reason why we didn't win. That's that, and we couldn't keep the ball. We couldn't generate first downs when we needed to. We generated much less passing first downs this season versus last season. I believe it was like, I want to say, I'm trying to think what it was per game. I believe it was about 5 or 6 less per game passing, which is significant. We're not moving the ball. And then once they started keying in on Josh Jacobs, that was it. They get the ball back. We blew so many leads. We had so many close games that we should have won and we didn't win. And again, this goes back to coaching, not only preparation of the players, but adjusting the game plan and modifying and changing based on what the opponent is doing. That did not happen this season for the most part. And the defense again was just awful. And then the biggest stat of all, of course, we had almost about half the wins we had last season. And remember, last season we had John Gruden. I was not a big fan of his coaching, and then the whole email thing, and then we had an interim coach, and then Henry Ruggs incident, and then Arnett incident. Josh Jacobs had a little mini incident before the season started. A lot of people don't remember that. Was it a DUI or not? Technically it wasn't, but I'll let you be the judge of that. That team was in turmoil the whole season, and it got together and it grouped together. Again, Rich Bisaccia, I think the biggest blunder Mark Davis has done the last couple of years is not retaining Rich Bisaccia. I've said that before. Should have kept him as special teams coach, bumped him up in pay. Something Al would have done. This Mark Davis, he's nothing like Al. He just pisses on everybody. He doesn't really care. Let's get to our predictions here. We had predictions here. Now, again, we normally do these right after the schedule comes out. We'll do a quick one early on, and then once we get to the 53-man roster before the season starts, we'll modify those. Then the bye week, and then we check them. We didn't do it during the bye week. Sorry, I apologize. I was a little busy. I was moving, in the process of moving, all that. But we're going to go by the ones we did around Labor Day weekend, right before the season started. And this is you guys first, the champions. So this was your predictions, 11-6 record, of course. Not only, of course, we didn't reach that. I don't think anybody really predicted 6-11, so that's not a big deal. We're going by game here. So the X means that was not right, and then the check marks were right. So champions, you guys ended up with going 8-9 here as far as 17 games go. And let's see how I did. Oh yeah, I beat you guys by the skin of my teeth. I went 9-8. A couple of the big differences here that I noticed was the Jacksonville game. I had that as a loss. I remember you guys were saying no way. That ended up as a loss. I had the Pittsburgh game in the cold as a loss. That actually happened. And I had the Tennessee Titans game as a loss. You guys did not. I think those were the difference. And I was a little bit more optimistic later in the season. Had I been able to adjust at the bye week, I definitely wouldn't have, definitely would have been an L here, probably an L there. So, but anyway, that's 2 years in a row, guys. You guys need to step it up. I'm just saying. I'll take it. I know 9-8, it's nothing to be happy about, but it's better than 8-9. Now, let's get into these 2023 opponents, shall we? I'm going to get on the camera here, and I want to talk about these. I'm going to do this. I did this last season, and we're going to do this again. Let's get this up here. How you guys doing? Let me adjust this a little bit here. Went out a little bit too far. I won't be able to see it. So, we're going to get to how I came up with this. Anybody can come up with this. I talked about this last season. Of course, we'll go from the top down. So we're going to go with the division. Of course, everybody plays their divisional opponents 6 times. Once at home, once away. That's pretty simple. Then the next one is you play an entire division within your conference, AFC. This time is the AFC East. We do this every 3 years. There's 4 divisions. So every 3 years we play the full division. This year, of course, is the AFC East. We last played them in 2020. How I got the home and away, it's pretty simple. Last time we played this division in 2020, we played the Patriots and Jets away. So they flip-flop it. So 3 years from now in the 2026 season, we'll be playing Buffalo and Miami at home and the Jets and Patriots away. Next one is the placement one. I call it the placement. So you play one team in the other 2 divisions you haven't played. So we get to play one team in the North and one team in the South, and it's based on your record. And we finished 3rd place in our division. So we get to play the 3rd place teams in the other 2 divisions, and that is the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Indianapolis Colts. And the last time this happened in 2020, we played the AFC South team at home and the AFC North team, which was the Cleveland Browns, away. And they flip-flopped that again. So this time we're going to play the North team at home, which is the Pittsburgh Steelers. And we get to play the Indianapolis Colts again. It seems like we play them every year for some reason. It's kind of weird. Kind of similar opponents. Same thing with the Patriots. The Steelers, we get to play them again. And then the NFC teams. We play an entire division every 4 years they have 4 divisions, of course. We rotate those around. Last time we played these guys was, let's see, the 2019 season. So 4 seasons later, 2023, we get to play the AFC, or NFC North rather. And again, last time we played them in 2019, we played the Packers and the Vikings away, and the Bears and Lions at home, so they just flip-flop it. And then the 17th one, we're going to be playing the NFC East team, and again, that's by record. So we were in 3rd place in our division. We will play the 3rd place NFC East team this year, and that is the New York Giants. And they rotate it. This is the 3rd year they're doing it. So all the AFC teams will be at home against these NFC teams on the 17th game. So that's how we got with it. You can also see the records right here. It's going to be another tough road to hoe here, guys. 10 of 17 teams over 500. 6 games with teams that had double-digit wins. Of course, I'm still going to say Denver's going to suck. They gave up too much draft capital. They had a high pick, and now it's Seattle's. Good for Seattle. I'm still not convinced Russell Wilson's there. He's definitely not an MVP. And there's talk about Sean Payton coming there and trying to resurrect things. I don't think that's going to happen. I wouldn't go there if I was him. The defense is regressing. The pass rushing is slowed down, especially with Chubb gone now. So let's see. Von Miller was gone 2 years ago on the Rams run. They traded him mid-season or 3/4 of the way or whatever it was. So I'm not so worried about Denver. Of course, the Chargers are going to get healthy. They kind of got snake bit this year, let's be honest, with injuries, especially on that offensive line. I heard Rashawn Slater might be back for this game, this wild card game for them. But they've had some problems, of course. There was a little bit of regression in Herbert's play. Wide receivers have been hurt as well. So they're going to be tougher. I don't think they're going to get snake bit on injuries 2 years in a row. Of course, the Chiefs, 9 years in a row now, is it? This is ridiculous. Good coaching, got Patrick Mahomes. And they did what they needed to do, and I talked about that in their game preview. They got linebacking core built up. They've got some good pass rushers now. Of course, they rebuilt that offensive line since they got destroyed in that Super Bowl against Tampa. They know what they're doing. We don't. It is what it is. They're going to be a tough nut to crack. And then the AFC East, I don't know, guys. There could be a scenario, and I'm not going to say it's going to happen, but it definitely would not surprise me because Mac Jones sucks. And we cut Derek Carr or agreed to trade him to the New England Patriots to go under the dark side with Bill Belichick. That is absolutely possible. There's also been talk, of course, about the Jets I talked about, and also Miami. How long is Tua going to be able to play with all those concussions? And they got a ready-made activity or team right there. A lot of weapons, of course, Tyreek, Jalen Waddle. That would be a good area for him to go to. It's not a cold area team. I know there's a bugaboo about that, but it is what it is. I could see that. Of course, we talked about Tampa as well down there in Florida. So we could very well play against Derek Carr this year in another uniform, which would be very intriguing. And then you got Pittsburgh. Some people saying that he could go to Pittsburgh. I don't see that. Kenny Pickett was in there as a rookie. Of course, you're going to take your lumps. I think they're going to stick with him. They still ended up 9-8. I don't know how. Mike Tomlin still never had a season under 500. I frankly, I don't know how that's happening. It's amazing. I don't think he's that great of a coach, to be honest with you. And then the Colts, that's another team that could be in the hunt. I honestly think with the Colts, if they do not move up to that number one spot with Chicago, they will be a major player in getting Derek Carr, whether we trade him or outright release him and they sign him as a free agent. I could very well see them getting him there. Dome team. They play in the AFC South, so not a lot of cold teams. Let's be honest with you there. Still got some weaponry there. Of course, they got Jonathan Taylor who can run the ball. Scrappy little defense. The offensive line is above average in my opinion. That could be a good landing spot for him. And again, we would play Derek Carr in an opposing unit. It almost, to me, it almost kind of feels inevitable that we're going to play him this season wherever he lands. I think it's going to be one of these guys. And then the North teams. I think the Vikings caught a little bit of fire this year. I think they're going to fall back to earth a little bit. They still got a lot of weapons. I'm assuming Thielen's going to be back. Hawkinson should be back from injury. They traded up for him for Detroit. And, of course, Justin Jefferson. So what are we going to do about our defensive back situation? We're going to get destroyed. Is Aaron Rodgers going to come back here? I don't know. I hope not. So we can win a game. If he does, we'll probably lose that game. Jordan Love is the joke, in my opinion. Detroit, on the way up. 9-8, guys. If you haven't been paying attention to Detroit, Jared Goff earned that spot. It looked like that trade with all those number ones, he was going to be like a transitional type quarterback where they go a year or so and then draft the quarterback of their future. Not so much, not so fast here. I mean, he put on big numbers this year, and they got Amon St. Brown at wide receiver who's going to be a pain in the butt for us. And then Chicago, Justin Fields. To me, they shouldn't have went 3-14. They're a better team than that. Not to say they should have made the playoffs. They probably should have been around 500, maybe 6-7 wins like we were. Again, Justin Fields, depending, is he going to be healthy? He takes a lot of chances running the ball, but he's the talent. If we play him in week 1, that could be some trouble. I know I said that about Lamar Jackson a couple years back, but this one's going to be in Soldier Field. Again, this could be a cold game. Could be a pain in the butt for us. Who knows who our quarterback's going to be? I hope it's not Tom Brady. There's still talk about that, and you guys are voting him up here. Please no. Please no. And then the Giants at home. Danny Dimes kind of redeemed himself a little bit. I was talking about possible landing spot for Derek Carr there. That could still happen. I think it's kind of down the list, though, in my opinion. But I see 1, 2, 3. Miami, if 2 isn't done. 4 and 5 spots that Carr could be next season and play against us. And it would not totally surprise me. And then, of course, we have Miami, who's going to be, again, Waddle, Hill. How are we going to stop these guys? Our DBs are terrible. Or is that all going to be fixed this offseason? It wasn't fixed last offseason. Look at my videos last year. I said that was one of our holes. How did that get fixed? It didn't. It didn't. So, and, of course, it's going to be in Miami. I talked about that with Jacksonville and the humidity. If we play them in September, our team's going to fizzle out by the third quarter, all humid, and it's god-awful down there anyway, let alone to smash up against each other and, play football for 60 minutes. So that's my, of course, Buffalo. They're going to, Buffalo in Buffalo. That's probably going to be in December. Forget about it. They got Gabe Davis, of course, Stephon Diggs. Again, quarterback league, we have no DBs. We're going to be in trouble. We're going to be in trouble just by looking at this. I don't know. I want to hear what you guys have to say, though. Put it in the comments. If you're watching this live, put it in the comments right now. If you're watching this on a replay, put it in there. Read just about every comment. I usually respond to them as well. So, with that said, a lot to talk about. We talked about a lot of it. I need a drink. Well, it's just iced tea, guys. Just iced tea. I need to wet my whistle a little bit. Lot to go over, of course. The off season, basically, not much of a change on the offense. Josh Jacobs playing for a contract, basically playing lights out. Not seeing much from Josh McDaniels, the guru. The defense really bottomed out. Started with Chandler Jones. Couldn't really rush the quarterback that well. Max Crosby not getting the quarterback as much as I think he should have. it is what it is. I don't know what we're going to do with Chandler Jones. I don't think we can get out of that contract. Too much dead cap money if we do. We'll get into a salary cap video probably next week. I'm going to talk about a new channel I'll be doing as well. It's going to be the same stuff, but it's going to be on a different channel so I can get this thing growing, because I've got reasons, I got some beliefs, but YouTube is not letting this channel grow. So I need to take action, whether it's to end the channel altogether or try a second channel that's kind of clean from certain affiliations. I'll just leave it at that. I don't know why this... That's another thing with this green screen nonsense. It's really not... it's not consistent. Sometimes it looks good, and then other times I move it around, it does not look good at all. So let me see. I'm just mixing with this on the fly. So I want your comments. Put your comments down right now and see what you have to say. Let me see if I can get this going here. See, now it makes it too big. I'm going to have to make it a little bit bigger. So I'm fixing this on the fly, guys. Live TV is nothing like it. There we go. So I see I have 7 viewers in here and no chat comments. So of course I am not broadcasting on TikTok as well. I talked about that last week. Basically, TikTok does not work very well with these types of live streams. Only during games. It works better for shorts and stuff like that. I might do a mock draft with that as well, because be a lot more interaction with that. I think that platform is more quick, and they want more interactivity. So Johnny Stormbeat says, God bless. Hope we have a decent off season. I hope we do too. We will be going over the salary cap. I've done it 2 seasons now. Basically, I go over the numbers and show you where we're spending our money, where it's projected. Of course, there's going to be renegotiations. There's going to be money deferred. I mean, they have specific departments of lawyers just to do this. So I'm just going to take a snapshot of where we are right now to get an idea of where we're spending all our money. Of course, it's going to be Devontae Adams is going to be there. I fully assume Derek Carr is going to be cut. So that's going to be $5.5 million on the cap hit. I don't think we're going to get a deal in place, because we're going to have to take the risk of somebody backing out of that deal. And because if we keep him on after February 15th and somebody backs out, then he's going to be guaranteed all that money. What do we do with Derek Carr at that point? You know? And I really think both sides want to move on. Who are we going to get? Is it going to be Tom Brady? I hope not. Is it going to be Garoppolo? I put a poll here, and I got 10 votes so far. Most of them are for Tom Brady. Stidham got a vote, and then somebody voted for a draft pick. Could be the draft. We could throw a first-year guy in the fire there and see what happens. I really think we are going to draft somebody. Maybe Richardson. We move up all of Baltimore with Lamar Jackson. That kind of makes sense to me. I don't think, unless we really want one of the other ones, we're going to have to pay a king's ransom. And if you watch Dave Ziegler this week, he was mentioning that we had a lot of draft capital and that we didn't have last year, that we're going to have, we have picks in the first 2 rounds. If we do this, we might not have those picks. So, again, we're going to have a full off season here. The league season officially starts, I believe, March 17th, 15th, where everything gets reset. We are on the next year's page. And then we have the combine. We do the draft. We do mock drafts in here. We have interactive. Usually go about an hour on here. Again, it's 6:39 Raider time, my time. Go about an hour. So got about another 20 minutes we'll go. And usually, but the mock drafts usually go about 2 hours. But it's interactive. We have a lot of fun with them. There's different websites. I talk about that as well. And I encourage you to go on those websites too. Have some fun. Learn more about the players coming up. One guy I wanted last year was Damian Pierce. Didn't get him. again, now what do we do about? That was another thing we didn't even talk about yet is running back. We're not. Josh Jacobs isn't coming back. It's not happening. He doesn't want to come back. I don't think he wants to come back. We're not going to pay him the money he wants as a rushing leader. It's not going to happen. Are we going to franchise him? Do you want to franchise him? If you franchise him, you got to pay him an average of the top 5 running backs. We'll get into that in salary cap as far as money. I have to look, but it's going to probably be over $10 million is my guess. Do we really want to spend that much money? I thought we moved up to get Zamir White as a solution. We should have got Damian Pierce in the 3rd round. That could have been a viable solution. Now we don't have that. We're stuck again. Al's Ghost, top 3 offseason moves that we should make. We need to get the quarterback situation settled. That's probably number 1 because quarterback is the most important position in the National Football League, especially now that it's basically 2-hand touch. And we have 3 potential Hall of Famers. I'll say Mahomes definitely will be in the Hall of Fame when it's said and done. Of course, Russell Wilson, Herbert might be, but we got to keep up. It's quarterback league. That's number 1, and solidifying the lines. Again, that Chandler Jones deal is really going to bite us because he didn't perform up to it, and unless he does next season, I'm a little pessimistic about him actually performing up to that. So that, again, that takes us away from possible Khalil Mack. You're going to hear a bunch of that because I think the Chargers are going to cut him instead of paying him all that money he's owed this year. This is the whole salary cap thing. Things are in flux. They can get out of Khalil Mack's contract, I believe, completely. I remember reading that a few months back. I believe last offseason I looked at that. I think they could get out of it without any cap hit. Otherwise, they got to pay him $23 million this year. Of course, they can renegotiate, but I do not see the Chargers paying him $23 million. Either renegotiate or he's gone, and he could come back here. I don't know. But with Chandler Jones now, with the way that contract's structured, I think that takes us out of the mix. We need interior defensive linemen really bad. We need cornerback really bad. Interior offensive line really bad. Can we count on Illuminor at right tackle? He did an okay job. He didn't do great, but he wasn't Brandon Parker. So we probably roll the dice with him again since he's a Patriot, former Patriot. So definitely. So that answers your question, I hope. Quarterback number 1, we got to figure that out. Whether I don't want Tom Brady. I'd rather go to the draft and start over for basically a rebuild if we can. But I'm not so sure. I don't want Lamar Jackson. Garoppolo would be, he's not that good. I would rather have him than Brady for sure at this point of the game, and Lamar Jackson, because you're going to pay him a ton of money, and he's probably going to break down on you halfway through the season, so then you're screwed and you got to pay him all that money. It's stupid. Sounds like something an old Raider move would do. So we'll go over that as well as far as free agents as well this offseason. There's a lot of things going on. Every year is a lot of things going on with the team. Definite clown show, and that's why I asked here a question and answer segment. Which season was a bigger clown show to you? Was it 2021 with all the Gruden and all that, or was it this year because of the expectations? That's a legitimate question. Let's see. Johnny Storm Beat says, excited to check it out. I'll be on the lookout. Good. Be sure to subscribe. You got to hit the bell notification, set it to all. And especially with YouTube, what I'm going to do, I might go live one more time, and that's just to get my regulars so they know the new channel and they can go over there and sub right away. Because I don't really want to get into that why, but this channel isn't growing naturally. It's just not, and it's not only that they're not showing this to new faces and new eyes. It's even my subs. I get a lot of, I know Al's Ghost. I think Psycho Jackal said that too. I've got a few others throughout the season saying, hey, I didn't even get your notification. I didn't even know you're on. What are you doing, YouTube? Why are you doing that? You know, it's crazy. So I'm going to kind of go back to the drawing board with that. I'm also going to think about, doing it on Facebook too. I'm starting to get a little bit more of a following on the Facebook side. I didn't have before. That's why I reached out to TikTok. As far plus I can stream key. Now if you're not familiar with this, if you go live, you can either just use your camera and talk. You'll see people do that. Or like this, where you have graphics and use your computer, you have to have something called the stream key because you have a secondary program show that, and that gets streamed. Now Facebook does that. TikTok can, but they're really picky. There's no real thing saying you have to have this many subs or have to have this many hours online to get it. They kind of pick and choose. Plus, I got a week in TikTok jail for saying a naughty word there. So maybe I lost points there. I don't know. It's still pretty good for shorts. I get a ton of hits on my shorts over there. If you want to go over there, Raider Champion, of course, if you're on TikTok. But as far as like broadcasting, like I said, I might do some mock drafts because it's more interactive, catch more eyes and do that. But otherwise, like the game reviews, it's not going to happen on TikTok. I might be looking into Facebook. Like the Little Shop of Horrors green screen effects. Yeah, it's going to come eat me. Yeah, this is probably the best I can get it. The problem is these right here. See, if I do that. If it's just my face, I can get if it's just, my figure, I can do it better. But with these, it has the openings, kind of messes it up. I've experimented with a microphone before. It was kind of hit and miss. So I kind of went away from that. So let's see. Dominique says Jimmy G stays hurt. Oh, so does Lamar Jackson, and it's going to cost us a fraction of the money. So, and I know this regime loves its Patriots, so I don't know. Could Derek Carr go to Baltimore? It's very interesting to see. I just got a feeling that we're gonna be seeing Derek Carr again in the 2023 season on the field against us. I just got that feeling. Might be wrong, but I got that feeling. That's another thing. If I kind of cut off, if you see, I truncated it here because it doesn't get all of my hair, and it kind of gives me like an Ed Grimley look, a little pointy head. So it's a work in progress. I'm kind of fiddling with it. I could probably do a little bit better with some other software maybe. But again, that's going to be predicated on views and how this channel grows. Alsgo says, oh, wait, I see Lamar. I see Lamar. I see Dominique say, I don't want Lamar Jackson either. Absolutely not. He can't throw the ball very well either, especially the deep ball. Let's be honest. Mark Andrews bailed him out. The Wildcat and the other running backs there have shown promise there. That's what they do. And they have pretty darn good defense too. So Alice Ghost says, I can see Carr going to Miami. Not sure if Tua's playing football. Yeah. And we talked about that during the schedule. The 2023 opponents. We will be playing Miami in Miami this year again. I can figure out all the opponents, and I can figure out where the home and away is. The only thing they haven't set up is the week-to-week. So we will not know that until the springtime when they come out with the schedule. It usually happens, I think, a few weeks before the draft. So I want to say mid to late March. It's the last time it came out, something like that. It'll come out then. But yeah, we're going to play them there. It's going to be tough. How do we cover Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle? Wouldn't that be amazing if Derek Carr was there and he threw like 400 yards on us and destroyed us? I can see it. With that offense. Look out. That's all I'm saying is look out. The Philadelphia experiment. Why would he go to Philly? He's not going to start there. Why would he go there? It makes no sense unless Jalen Hurts isn't playing. He would go there as a backup. He's good enough to be a starting quarterback. Like I said, I think high end is number 6, low end is 15. There's 32 teams. He's good enough to have a starting gig somewhere. I wouldn't go to Philly. What, to hold a clipboard? That's not what Derek wants to do. Derek wants to win if If he can't do that, I think he will retire. If he can't get a starting gig, he's not going to stick around with the clipboard. I don't see that happening. We didn't talk about Houston officer rollout. I know last time you talked about him going to the Texans like his brother, his big brother. Could that happen? I guess. Why would he do that, though? Again, the way they treated his brother, number one. Number two, team's terrible. Team's terrible on both sides of the ball. Would Brandon Cooks stay if they got Derek Carr? Brandon Cooks wants out. They got Damian Pierce. That's about it. Defense still sucks. That's why I wanted to trade Cleve Farrell for Brandon Cooks last season. I think it would have been a win-win for both sides. Maybe could have used that money instead of Devontae to get some more help on the interior defensive line or a right tackle. Didn't happen, of course. No, we draft 2 running backs we don't use. That's what we do here on the New England Patriots Clown Show. A-Rod to the Finns for a ring? Maybe. He already has a ring, so I don't know. I hope A-Rod's not there when we play the Packers. That's a big thing for me because Aaron Rodgers is notorious for beating the hell out of us. It is what it is. He could have an off game the week before, an off season. He's going to come in and throw 3 touchdowns, 300 yards. Is what it is. So, what else do you guys want to talk about? Do you guys want to talk about Derek Carr? Other than Derek Carr, where we go on as far as this team goes? Do you think we're going to go out? Do you think we're going to go after Tom Brady? We talked about this last week, and I mentioned that, and Al's Ghost was on, and we can put the chat up. If you guys want to come into chat, we can do a little bit of chat. I did not promote that because you guys were doing a lot of chat in the chat room. So if you are new here, of course, you can come in here. There's a link in the pinned comment. You can come in here and talk. If you want to be on camera, you can. You don't have to be. You can sound off. Give me your opinions, what you want to talk about. I remember last time we opened this up, and we talked about what would be the scenario for this team. And I think it's more of a money grab. What can get the fan base the most excited about this team, about winning? And I think that's why they did the whole thing with Derek Carr, the extension, getting Devontae Adams in here. I really don't think they had any true intention of winning or making a run this season. I really don't. It was more evaluation. So some of those moves I think were just fluff to generate some fan base love. So what can they do this season to do that? Tom Brady, most of Raider Nation hates Tom Brady for the Chuck rule. Personally, it wasn't him. It was the league that screwed us over. That said, I don't want 48-year-old Tom Brady or wherever the hell he is. He's not very good. He hasn't looked very good. He had like 2 good games this whole season. Maybe because he was going through the divorce thing. Yeah, maybe. But he's not there. Plus, our offensive line is trash. He's going to get destroyed behind that offensive line. Are we going to care about offensive line then? If we get his buddy, Tom Brady? I don't know. I don't think he would last 17 games here. So I think the biggest bang for your buck is it could very well happen, move up with Chicago with that first overall pick and get your quarterback of the future. Not only that, it gives Josh McDaniels probably at least 2 more years of security. Of course, you're grooming a rookie quarterback. You're going to have some bumps. But this is our guy of the future. Come see him. The next whatever, Peyton Manning or whatever, If we get Levis, the next Josh Allen's right here. We can compete in the AFC West and all these awesome quarterbacks. I think that's probably the most viable scenario. So what do you guys think? Do you guys what do you think this team will do to win back some of the fan base that they've basically pissed off? Of course, you have a big division of Carr lovers that they've already pissed off. not only just getting rid of him, but also how they got rid of him. Kind of did him dirty, just like Rich Bisaccia. I mean, this is Mark Davis's MO. He's a piece of shit. You know, he does not give a fuck about Raiders. He is a 180 of his dad. With Al, once you're a Raider, you're always a Raider. On the field, off the field, he would have taken care of Rich Bisaccia. He would have, unless you cross him, you know, like Marcus Allen, there's few exceptions. I think it would have been handled much differently had Mark Davis not been at the helm. So what are we going to do to generate? Now, Carr haters love it. You know, they blame everything on Carr. I'm a little bit both. I think it's more McDaniels from the lack of play calling and preparation of this team in general, because he's also in charge of the defense, guys. Let's be honest here. He hired Patrick Graham. He needs to take the heat on that. This defense was atrocious. Like I said, Gus Bradley looked good in 2021 compared to this defense. Let's be honest here. That defense looked a lot better than this defense. And where's the heat on McDaniels for that, on that hire? It's not here. Alsgoes says they did Carr dirty. Free agents will take note of that. Yeah, I mean, not only that, it's regressing again. And usually free agents, one, they want to get paid, but they also want to go to an environment where it's got some kind of organization here, any kind of clue, number one. Number two, can they win? I don't see that here either way from the Raiders. So, you know, we have repellent. We have free agent repellent. I see officer rollout here. Hey, how you doing? Talk to us. Do you hear me?
Hey, can you hear me, champion? You hear me?
I hear you. How you doing? We got officer rollout here. First time on the program tonight.
Hey,
I see you. We see you and hear you. How you doing tonight?
well, I finally got my IT guy hooked me up here and give you a call here from the East Coast, and we're doing terrific. Got a little cold weather here in Florida, and
Okay, we got cold weather here. We got cold weather everywhere. But is there any talk about Derek Carr coming down to the Sunshine State, either with Tampa or Miami? I'm hearing rumors here, there, and everywhere. I want to know what the locals are saying about that.
well, he definitely could have a home down here. I haven't heard any local squawk here about him coming down here, but he definitely would have a warm welcome down here because both teams are going to be in need of a quarterback. I think Brady is going to need a new home. I think he's pretty much done with football. And as far as Miami, there's real concern about Tua. The last concussion especially with what happened up in with the New England game and what happened with number
DeMar Hamlin, yeah.
3 there. There's a lot of concern about health issues and, DeMar Hamlin and all that. And I think he'd be well received in South Beach. And they've got a good team and they've got a good shot with a good quarterback. And we all know Carr can definitely sling it. He's got always had that gunslinger mentality. And you noticed with Waddle and Tariq, they could get down the field, and I think Carr would make a good match for them down there.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, I went through the 2023 opponents. I just got a feeling we're gonna have to play against Derek Carr this year. There's 5 viable candidates that I saw on our schedule where he could end up, and Miami's one of them. And if he goes there, forget about it. Unless we can get some kind of pass rush on him, he's going to tear us apart. I do not see this regime filling the hole at corner, They didn't do it last year. They actually got rid of Trayvon Mullen. They went and got Rocky Sin, which is an average guy at best. They didn't have anybody behind him. They started 2 slot guys, basically, Hobbs and Amik Robertson on the outside, and it was kind of disastrous. I think Amik should be our nickel corner. I would like to see Hobbs take over the Jonathan Abram role. He's like a strong safety. He needs to get a little bit bigger, more of a disruptor. He did really well when they would blitz him. At times he could stop the run as well, but he needs to get a little bit bigger. But we have no cornerbacks. And those are 2 all-world guys, Waddle and Hill. So it's going to be tough. And Merrick is our free safety. Let's face it, he regressed this year. Not to say he sucked, but he kind of had a sophomore slump. He does not look as well as he did in his rookie season. So, yeah. So, are you going to be watching the Jacksonville Jaguars in the playoffs? It's kind of weird, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Well, when we transplanted to Florida some years ago now, we were around when Jacksonville first got its start, and we talked before about being rooting for our new home team, and they did well in the beginning, and then they had a fall off, and then the last year was terrible with the new quarterback, and wasn't his fault in a sense that he needed a lot of guidance, and he wasn't getting it from the coach transition from the college game, Urban Myers, and in Florida, especially in North Florida. And you have to understand about Florida is that in Florida, the saying is the farther north you go, the more south you are. And Urban Meyer, being the Florida Gator coach for so many years, that he could do no wrong for most Florida fans. And when he fell from grace, he fell rather hard. And but the main things we don't like to talk a lot about that, and we're hoping now that he's got a good coach to support him, and apparently his new coach has been known as the Florida or quarterback whisperer, and he'll be work with Trevor Lawrence better, and he seems to be coming along well now. And if he could do a little bit better about getting a little more finesse with his ball and not throwing it 10 feet over his receiver's head so much, but that'll come with a little more work. But
yeah. Oh, the one thing I got to admit,
it's been blessed.
One thing I got to admit with Jacksonville though is I made fun of them when they signed Christian Kirk for I think like $30 million a year or something, some crazy amount. The guys lived up to it. I got to say that. That said, I don't think he's worth a Devontae, but still had pretty good season overall. I know Lawrence has kind of had his ups and downs. We lost to Jacksonville. I predicted us losing down there in Jacksonville. A lot of people thought I was crazy for that. But it's a different animal. I thought Trevor, by the time we played them, was about 6 or 7 weeks in. I figured Lawrence would be set right. He had a pretty decent game. I think our defense kind of left us in the lurch on that one overall. But I really think they have a good future there in Jacksonville. They got Walker as well, so on the defensive side. So I think they're set up to play. Plus, let's be honest, that's one of the weakest divisions in football, that AFC South. I mean, Tennessee's been around there so long, it's ridiculous. Indianapolis can't find a quarterback to save their life. They've spent money on Carson Wentz, who's a joke, and then Matt Ryan, who's past his prime. Let's be honest. They're probably going to be in the market for a rookie. Lebowitz, a good head coach. Another good coordinator guy who's not a real good head coach. Let's be honest. Worst team in the league, so in my opinion. So, you got anything else to say? You want to talk about the NFL or anything else? Raiders, go ahead.
Oh, some other people get here and enjoy the commentary and like that. But one thing in passing or in closing, as far as the Jags are concerned, is that the Jags are a great crucible for because they always have a tendency to get the higher draft choices, and then they get them for a while, and then they get the best, and they put out really good players that come into their own in another franchise. So we'll keep cranking, bringing them in, getting them primed to go to other teams, and then becoming superstars somewhere else. Like
Sounds like the Florida Marlins in baseball. They don't want to pay the money. I'd have to. I don't know their cap situation.
Definitely.
So.
Well, it's a question of not just the money. It's we could go and talk about the Tom Coughlin regime and trying to play football in the old 1950s, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, and not respecting the players in the modern. They're all still making $50,000 a year, and you're not respecting it.
Yeah. So let's see. Jake Ray says the Raiders are going to wish they kept Carr and fired McDaniels. That's Jake. I can't argue that. Matter of fact, this first season to me has been kind of a. That's why I put the comment there. I'm replacing the pin message. I'll put you as the pin comment because I've seen. That's why I put the Q&A down there at the bottom. Which season was the bigger clown show for the Raiders? Was it last season or 2021? And 2021 had losing our coach midseason emails. Remember, Josh Jacobs had a little bit of an issue, a single car accident before the season started when nobody really talks about, had a bump on his head. They couldn't get him for anything, you know what I'm saying? And then, of course, Henry Ruggs killing somebody. 155 miles an hour, I believe. Damon Arnett on social media swinging guns around. It was a shit show. But this season, it's like, it's a good question to ask because there was so much more expectations. Now, mid to late last 2021, it was like, oh, this is screwed. We're gonna be lucky we win a game. They got together and they won 4 in a row and got to the playoffs and almost beat Cincinnati. So that's a testament to the players, circling the wagon, so to speak. This year, we got the new regime. They're from the Patriots. They know what they're doing. And we have Josh McDaniels. He's an offensive mastermind. Blah, blah, blah. And we win like half the games we won. And I don't care. It was only 1-score games. And a lot of times we should have won. Arizona, we should have won 20-0 in the first half. There's no excuse. And he's going to go evaluate and do reviews. What? Is it with what, a mirror? I don't know. I don't know what's going on with him. And now he's kicked out Derek Carr, basically. I'm not going to say he did a great job. He didn't do a terrible job either. So that said, do you have anything else you want to say? Officer Rollout, before we kind of close this one out. We usually go about an hour, a little bit over time. So I'll let you have the final word here.
Oh, okay. It's a game and just a bunch of X's and O's, and it's one of those things with the social issues that get brought into it that you could make show after show just about it and everything that's come up, and that it's become such a big part of the collective experience in our country now that, and it's just amazing that it's come such a long way from even the game that I played as a kid, and
yeah, I agree with you.
You have to forgive me, champion, because on my end, on the technical side, I'm getting a lot of feedback. I'm going to be starting my channel up a little bit. I talked to you a little bit about it, and I'm looking towards you to kind of give me a little guidance on your end and get my myself together on that.
Awesome. I'm
Be
looking
calling
forward
it the
to that.
roll.
That'll be
Details on it later on.
That'll be interesting. I'm
If you like
looking
to
forward to that, and I'll actually.
If you want to hear stories from an old cop and old retired cop.
Down in the swamps of Florida. All right, thank you. I appreciate you
Down
coming
in the
out.
swamp. Yeah.
She come in here. I'll agree with Jake. I think that could play out that way. I hope not, because that means the Raiders are going to suck for at least 2 to 3 more years. Get another regime in here. Probably take another year after that to get formidable. So I don't wish it, but so far I don't have the confidence I had last offseason with this new regime. I just don't. So thanks, Officer Rollout. I will be kind of closing out the show right now. We're a little bit over time. I usually do this about an hour. Again, if you're watching this on a replay, why not subscribe? Especially if you're watching this on a replay, you've gotten through this long. Thank you very much. And thank you for all of you who are still here. I know Friday night, time to go out. I usually go on Friday night, so I do game previews. We're going to be getting the off-season stuff. A lot of craziness happened with Derek Carr. What's our quarterback situation? Salary cap, we'll be doing that. And then once we get to the NFL draft, we'll be doing the mock drafts online. We'll be showing it right here. Totally interactive. It's going to be fun. Those are the most fun live streams I do. I've said that before. So I want to thank you guys for coming out. Close out the voting. So get your final votes in. I have who will be the Raiders starting quarterback in 2023. I threw it out there. Is it going to be Jarrett Stidham? Is it going to be Tom Brady? Is it going to be 2023 draft pick or somebody else? If you think it's somebody else, like a Garoppolo, Janine Garoppolo, in there as well, you can pick other. Let's add for a few seconds. Tom Brady's there. I hope not. I think his days are over. To be honest with you, I think his days are done. I do not want him. I don't want to basically babysit him. Plus, this offensive line's gonna get him destroyed. It's not that good, especially the interior. Forget about it. Let's see. Thanks to Officer Rollout for protecting the public. Salute to you, says Alice Ghost. Absolutely. Salute to you for that, and salute to you for coming on the show. I mean, it's not easy doing that. So our final results, Tom Brady 50%. Let's hope not, guys. I give it a 15 to 20% chance. I'm still there right now. I know a lot of people are talking about that happening. Like I said, I give it a 15 to 20% chance. I mean, if Mark Davis really wants to alienate Raider Nation, sign Tom Brady. Sign Tom Brady, and you're gonna have a stadium full of the opposing team. Just from the issues from the Tuck rule and the Patriots era, the new regime was hard enough for a lot of fans to get through. Tom Brady could be the tipping point. So that said, thank you very much for coming on out, joining us, and watching to the end. I do appreciate that. Give it a like on your way out. Appreciate that as well. We got 10 likes in here. Again, more details coming on the new changes to the channel, including the new channel coming up. Officer Rollout says he's going to do a channel. We'll talk about that. Maybe do a collaboration on that. I don't have a whole lot of stories from Florida. Maybe we could talk some football or whatever. Looking forward to that as well. Thank you very much for coming out, all of you. And as always, go Raiders.
Ask you something. With all the distractions that you have off the field, how are you able to keep focused on winning football games as you do and do throughout the year?
When you have great coaches, then after you have great coaches, you get great players. You have a great organization, and you tell them one thing: just win, baby.